Hi guys, David Jenyns here from davidjenyns.com, and really excited today to have lined up an excellent interview for you in the lead up to Ed Dale's event, which this weekend we're going to the Homecoming 2 seminar. I actually met the person I'm interviewing today, Kenny Goodman, at the first Edge seminar, and we connected really well. I like his style as far as he's very straight down the line. He's someone who doesn't so much talk in terms of theories that he's read about. He's out there in the real world practicing it. And I think one of the most exciting things when I first met Kenny was he was talking about a business he was doing in, was it garbage truck removal?
Yeah,
or garbage removal?
Yeah.
Skip hire. And yeah. I think for me, I love to see people applying internet marketing to real world businesses as opposed to, you know, just selling internet tools to other internet marketers. So instantaneously got on really well with Kenny, and he's sort of positioned himself now as a bit of an expert when it comes to domain names, buying and selling, and really I think coming up with some things that are on the cutting edge. So I wanted to talk a little bit about domain names, buying, selling, how we can use them for generating traffic, and you know, just basically I think there's a big opportunity there. So thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Really good to catch up. If we just dive straight into it, I'm interested to know, in terms of traffic, what are some ways that we can use buying domain names to help generate traffic to our websites?
You can buy old domain names, so if you can get a domain name that has age with it, generally if it's been a website previously, then it will already have traffic going to it. Also, if you can get a domain name that has pages that are indexed, and then you do a site explorer to find all the different pages that are indexed, then you can utilize those pages that you will probably find already generate traffic for you.
These websites, now we're talking domains coming up, expired domain names, we're talking buying off people. What are some of the methods that you use?
When I talk about domaining, I always tell people that 1% of my, what I'd like to call dynamite domains, these real powerful domains, less than 1% of those come from brand new domains. So I always say go for domains that are pre-owned, whether that be drop catching expired domains or buying domains in auctions, brokerages, that type of thing. My main focus now is buying domains via auctions or direct. My actual favourite place to buy is by going direct to the owner.
As far as like the business model, like I know we were talking about using domain names for traffic, but people are making a business out of buying and selling domain names.
Yeah.
And a few people may have heard the story. John Reese, very early on in his career, bought, it was something ridiculous like income.com. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah, still got that, yeah.
Yeah, and there was another domain name where, because he got into the buying and selling domain names, and I remember him talking about he sold it for $1,000, later to find that the guy went on to sell that same domain name for $1 million.
Yeah.
And he felt gutted.
Well, it's like business.com. Business.com went, I think it must have been the late 90s, it sold for something like $7 million.
Yeah.
Which, you know, everyone was like, that is unbelievable, $7 million.
Yeah.
And then just recently, you know, a few years back, sold for $340 odd million.
Wow.
Because what they did is they built, pardon the pun, but they built a business on there. And for me, what I've learned about domaining is you can increase the value of what I call a naked domain, that's a domain without anything on there, by adding a site on there, whether it be a blog or especially if it's a money site, and get your site ranking because that appeals to people's vanity. I had a really good domain name. It was in a dinosaur industry, and what I normally do is I get somebody else to sell these domain names for me. I've got a guy who he absolutely loves selling, so he phoned everyone within this industry and tried to sell this brilliant domain name. And normally he gets a few people who want to buy it. He couldn't sell it for love nor money. So what I then did is I got the domain name and I added a site to it, and then I got it ranking for a few key phrases within that industry. He then picked up the phone, this was a couple of months later, rang all the same people he'd rang previously, showed them that the site was ranking, and he then created a bidding war, and we sold that domain name for 4 times the amount we originally thought we would get for it.
Yes.
So you can appeal to people's vanity. That's one way of doing it, by getting the site ranking. They weren't even bothered about traffic.
Yeah.
The other way to add value to it is by getting traffic, of course, which is your forte.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you really want to increase value on it, turn it into a business by creating some turnover on there. And then the holy grail is create profit.
Yeah. I can see there's a huge opportunity here. I almost feel like, and this is something that we're definitely shifting to, my team and I, is the idea of buying web businesses, building them up and then selling them. I know sort of you were talking about getting to the point of having the business to have profit. When we strip it right back down to the domain level, what are the things that you're looking for, the qualities of a domain name? Like you talked about the age, and like what helps determine the value which you're willing to pay?
Well, there's lots. I mean, first of all, we have to understand that domain names it's just such an immature industry. I compare you know, web real estate with traditional bricks and mortar real estate, but if you think about it, traditional bricks and mortar real estate has been around for millennia, so it's very easy to value traditional bricks and mortar real estate, whereas you can't do it so easily with domain names and other web properties. But the guidelines I look for on a domain name is, first of all, the keywords. So if it's got good key phrases in there, or if it's a single word domain name, then it's going to have a lot more value to it. The length of the domain name has, you know, if the shorter the domain name, the better. The extension as well. We all know .coms are worth, you know, probably 3 or 4 times the amount of anything else out there. Page rank. Backlinks, if it's got good quality backlinks pointing to it, whether it's got existing traffic, as I mentioned earlier, pages indexed, and also, you know, I find domain names out there, and I specifically search for domain names that have DMOZ listings and Yahoo listings, because you know that they've come from a quality place.
Like you said, it's very early in the development of the industry, and that creates huge opportunities. And coming from the stock market type background, what we look for there, that's in a liquid market. So whenever there's in a liquid market, you can take advantage of those price inconsistencies through an arbitrage system, because you've got that knowledge where you can come in and go, this website, I know it's actually worth up here, but the person who's selling it may not necessarily appreciate that value. And I'm not talking about taking advantage of people, because you're giving someone what they might be well and truly happy to take, and then taking that with your existing knowledge to the next level. You also talked about some of the different qualities and attributes that you're looking for when you're thinking about purchasing a domain name. I'm just wondering, on the flip side, so once you go through, and you said you like to look for expired domain names, once you identify all of these characteristics, how do you then make sure that a lot of that sticks when you actually go ahead and purchase the domain name?
Well, first of all, you've got to look at the history of that domain name. So another point that I didn't mention earlier is the actual industry it's in. That has a big effect on the value of the domain name. Look at the history of that domain name. What site was it beforehand? And try and keep it as relevant as possible. Try and, rather than just putting 301 directs on all of those other pages that are indexed, try and put some content on there similar to the content that was on there previously. And the first thing I do when I buy a expired domain name, or I'm focusing more on just pre-owned domain names now, not exactly expired domain names, is to get content on there as fast as possible. And then if it's, you know, if I've spent a lot of money on that domain name and I want to maintain its ranking and its page rank, then I will start building links to the domain name as well.